guys have probably seen this episode. It's the Gone episode from season 6. The one where SpongeBob wakes up and the entire town has vanished. You know, this episode has been sitting in the back of my mind for years, and for a strange reason too. For the longest time, I thought it was just a mean-spirited joke episode. The setup is absurd, the ending smells fishy, and it feels like everyone was just having a laugh at SpongeBob's expense. It's one of those weird season 6 episodes. Then again, SpongeBob made weird episodes all the time, but I don't know, this one feels different to me. I just refuse to believe the whole no SpongeBob day. I feel like this episode hides so much more explanation. And if you know me, I'm pretty much committed to solving the true meaning behind this episode. Truth be told, Gone might be one of the biggest cover-ups in Bikini Bottom history. SpongeBob wakes up in the morning, wrestles with his alarm clock, puts on his pants, and heads to the kitchen to feed Gary. Except, Gary doesn't show up, not even a meow. This is our first clue, keep that in mind. SpongeBob figures he's just out and about, so he goes to say good morning to Squidward, but also no answer, or a groan. He then tries Patrick's rock, same result. Okay, this is getting weird. If this was real life, I'd be thinking, this is weird. Someone just made all my neighbors vanish. What else could they take from me without me even knowing? Which is exactly why I use Surfshark VPN. Because the last thing you want is to wake up and realize your personal information has mysteriously disappeared. Only this time, it's not a SpongeBob plot, it's a data breach. Surfshark 1 doesn't just give you a VPN, it comes with antivirus and personal data monitoring. So you get alerts if your info ever leaks online. Think about it. If Bikini Bottom had Surfshark, SpongeBob could have gotten a notification the moment his neighbors were gone. And the VPN part, that's my favorite. 1, it keeps all your browsing secure so no one can sniff around, not your ISP, not hackers, not even Patrick. 2, you can change your location to unlock content from anywhere. I've used it to stream shows only available in other countries and to get cheaper prices on flights just by being in a different location. So whether you're avoiding cyber threats or just trying to find the cheapest way to Bikini Bottom, Surfshark's got you covered. Go to surfshark.com/sponge or use code SPONGE at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN for free. You can try it for 30 days, and if you don't like it, you'll get your money back. Guaranteed. They're not crabs, after all. Alright, back to Bikini Bottom. By the time SpongeBob walks to work, the streets are empty. No background fish, no traffic, just a single boat abandoned in the road like someone left in a hurry. And SpongeBob, being the oblivious sponge he is, totally unfazed. He later spends the entire day at the Krusty Krab waiting for someone to show up, but nobody comes. And SpongeBob said it's just a slow day at work. When he walks past Mr. Krabs' office, it's empty too. SpongeBob just arrived at his home when he realized Gary's food was still untouched. So he rushed over to Squidward's to search for Gary, but he doesn't find him either. Squidward's clarinet is cold, Patrick's house is empty, Mr. Krabs' office is empty, Sandy's dome is empty. Everywhere he looks, there's nothing. And this is where the tension starts to creep in. Everyone in Bikini Bottom is gone at the same time. He even runs around the city confirming every building is abandoned.
Gone! Gone!
So what's SpongeBob's plan to deal with this disaster? He decides to keep the memory of Bikini Bottom alive by role-playing as the entire town himself. Which is weirdly quick, to say the least. Everybody's gone in a single night and you don't even question it? SpongeBob doesn't even bother thinking what might cause it. Or maybe where they could go. No, he just accepts that he's the last person in the city and will roleplay the whole civilization by himself. That's SpongeBob for you. At first, SpongeBob's actually thriving. The whole imitation gag is funny. Using his shape-shifting abilities, SpongeBob successfully manages to mimic everyone in Bikini Bottom. He captures Squidward's hatred for him perfectly. He plays how cheap Krabs is. He also does a very good impression of Patrick, Sandy, even Mrs. Puff. After a while though, SpongeBob realizes how pointless this is and cries over how alone and unhappy he'll be.
I can't replace everyone! I'll never be happy again!
Welcome to Squidward's world, SpongeBob. However, SpongeBob realizes that since no one's around, he can get his driver's license easily, and does so. Well, at least there's no one SpongeBob can run over with his boat, so that's good. Every day's an endless SpongeBob holiday. Just him, his boat, and the open road. He even names his boat Bodie. They hang out, they bathe together, they jellyfish together. It's weirdly wholesome, in that Tom Hanks and Wilson kind of way. And that's the thing about being alone. The good part feels amazing until it doesn't. And for SpongeBob, the drop is fast. What started as quirky roleplay and joyrides turns into something darker. Paranoia, talking to a vehicle, and slowly losing the plot.
I thought I'd go crazy without all my friends and acquaintances around.
And just when I thought this episode couldn't spiral more, Bodhi actually seems kind of alive. Yeah, I don't know about that. And then there's the Krabby Patty Patrick puppet that's apparently warning him about it. SpongeBob's having full conversations with meat and an engine. The French narrator casually drops,
3 days later.
and suddenly the happy isolation montage is gone. SpongeBob is spiraling now, scribbling in his diary about vehicles watching him, screaming at passing boats, and running like his life depends on it. And whether you call it cabin fever, paranoia, or straight-up schizophrenia, the result is the same. SpongeBob fears any vehicle. He runs around the city avoiding boats, but keeps finding one, because he runs to a boat dealership and watches a race-themed movie. Driven into a corner, he grabs an axe, sees a bus coming down the road, and hacks at it with the axe. Boom! Everyone comes back.
You're all still alive?
Mr. Krabs then says it's just National No SpongeBob Day, a harmless holiday where they all take a break from him. And SpongeBob, despite living through days of isolation, just accepts it, even saying that he felt honored by it. Roll credits. So many unexplained things in this episode, man. Either SpongeBob just lived through the fastest mental breakdown in history, or Bikini Bottom is hiding something. Okay, so according to Mr. Krabs, this was all because of National No SpongeBob Day, a day where everyone in Bikini Bottom, friends, neighbors, even his pet, packs up and leaves town just to avoid him. And we're supposed to believe that's it? Now sure, I can buy Squidward signing up for that in a heartbeat. Mrs. Puff? Absolutely, she probably pitched the idea. Even Krabs, yeah, I get it. He's not exactly a quality time kind of boss. But Sandy? Gary? Patrick? You know what? Patrick is dumb. He might not realize what he agreed to. I'll give him that. But still, these are SpongeBob's closest friends. I just don't buy the idea that they would all go this far. And then there's the shady timeline. SpongeBob says he's been alone for weeks. We've seen him live through multiple day-night cycles, bond with a boat, build a meat puppet best friend, and develop paranoia. The French narrator also says, 3 days later, partway through. Yes, Krabs jokes that they're milking it quite a bit, but come on. I don't believe this entire town would vanish for that long just for a silly holiday. And when you line up all the cues, empty streets, missing pets, a warped sense of time, and the perfect timed return, the holiday excuse starts feeling a lot more like a cover story. And here's the thing, this wouldn't be the first time they've done it. You realize this whole town has a history of disappearing overnight, right? If there's one thing I've said over and over again, it's that the people of Bikini Bottom are, well, jerks. They'll mock you, laugh at you, turn on you the second it's convenient, all for a cheap laugh or personal gain. But if there's something that will bring these people together, it's survival. Think about episodes like Wormy or Once Bitten. When anything disastrous or harmful comes into Bikini Bottom, everyone drops what they're doing and moves as one. Doesn't matter if it's a butterfly, mad snail disease, or Patrick writing a song, if there's even a hint of danger, they instantly become a single-minded mob. Heck, even in the Alaskan bullworm episode, they didn't just evacuate, they physically moved the entire town by pushing it across the seafloor, in less than a day. What I'm trying to say is, Bikini Bottom is familiar with disasters. These people know exactly how to vanish when they have to. And Gone fits that pattern perfectly. Empty streets before sunrise, pets gone too, well, aside from Shelly, SpongeBob's clam, but that barely counts. They also managed to execute this precisely. Not a single slip-up in days. No returning stragglers, no overhead chatter. They are scarily good at this. Now, let's say they actually evacuate from something. Then our next question is, what are they actually running from? Here's where things get interesting. Let's rewind to what SpongeBob actually experiences while he's alone. At first, it's harmless coping, imitating Squidward, pretending to be Mr. Krabs, sleeping under Patrick's rock. That's just SpongeBob filling the silence the only way he knows how. But the longer he's alone, the stranger it gets. He starts talking with Bodhi, treating him like a best friend. Then we get the Krabby Patty Patrick puppet, made entirely out of meat, that somehow talks back to him and warns him about Bodhi. There's also a real possibility none of these talking things actually happen. could all be hallucinations stitched together by his brain to make sense of the silence. By the end, SpongeBob is scribbling in his diary about vehicles talking to him, running from boats in the street, and swinging an axe at a bus full of people.
Huh?
If it isn't already obvious to you, this is a textbook isolation-induced hallucination. SpongeBob could just be imagining being haunted by Bodie and Meaty Patrick simply because he just wants interactions with someone. Doesn't matter if it's fear. Or maybe something did happen to Bikini Bottom, something that could trigger hallucinations in anyone exposed for too long. Could be some kind of fungi, or maybe algae bloom, or chemical leak, or another kind of magic dust like Squidward's inhale in Clarinet Land. I don't have a certain answer yet. It could be anything. Whatever it was, it had to be dangerous enough for Sandy Cheeks, the most rational, resourceful brain in town, to pack up and leave. I know it sounds insane until you realize it actually explains a lot. SpongeBob's having a warped sense of time, mistaking days feeling like weeks. The pets are gone too, especially Sandy's pet. We don't see any of it in her dome. It means sensitive animals were taken for protection. Which also makes the ending even weirder, because if SpongeBob was that affected, why wouldn't they just take him with them? Why would they go so far as to leave SpongeBob alone in town? Well, that takes us to the ugliest part of the theory. I hate to say this, but SpongeBob is terrible in a crisis, and the show has proven it repeatedly. Wormy accident is possible simply because he couldn't differentiate between a land creature and a real monster that could eat people. Or take Fungus Among Us. SpongeBob can't even notice a contagious sea fungus on top of his head. Even when he does, he just ignores it, thinking everything will be alright. And not to mention the countless explosions he did for Bikini Bottom. So if you're trying to move hundreds of people quickly and quietly, he's a liability. He'll slow you down or draw attention or try to help in the most dangerous way possible. And Bikini Bottom knows it. They've been through enough disasters to recognize a liability when they see one. Now you might be thinking, well, isn't Patrick the same, if not worse? Why does he get to evacuate but not SpongeBob? And here's where the theory takes a darker turn. Maybe they believed SpongeBob would be the least affected by whatever this was. I mean, he's a sponge. He could absorb some deadly toxins and survive, right? Or maybe just dumb luck made him their best test subject. And if that's true, then the Gone timeline looks a lot different. First, they get intel about something dangerous, probably from Sandy giving her scientific background. They don't know how lethal it'll be, but they do have a hypothesis. SpongeBob might survive exposure better than anyone else. But they can't tell him. If he knew, he'd do something reckless. So, they leave without warning. They know SpongeBob won't go looking, he'll just accept it. And for a while, it works. But they also monitor him from a distance, and are ready to get back as soon as they decide it's safe, or worse, when they need to evacuate SpongeBob too. The latter actually happened. SpongeBob spiraled into hallucination and they decided to pick him up, so they went back to Bikini Bottom right when SpongeBob almost lost it, and fed him the harmless lie of National No SpongeBob Day. In other words, the experiment fails, SpongeBob didn't survive it. So they put another subject to the test, Patrick Star, for the same reason as SpongeBob. Because he's not smart enough to remember what happened. So yeah, National No SpongeBob Day is just a convenient cover story. One SpongeBob and Patrick would believe, one that wouldn't make them ask questions. But yeah, there's still a lot of unexplained things in Gone. It's one of those episodes where the more you dig, only more questions come to the surface. Was it really just a holiday? Was there something dangerous in Bikini Bottom? Or was it all in SpongeBob's head? Whatever the answer is, it doesn't change the part that really sticks with me. This is still a story about SpongeBob being left behind by the people he loves. It's cold, it's calculated, and it hurts, even if he doesn't realize it. But if you think this is the cruelest thing Bikini Bottom has ever done to him, it's not. There's another episode where SpongeBob loses something that really matters to him. A friend, to be exact. It was one of the most heartbreaking SpongeBob stories ever told. We've already broken it down in detail, and trust me, if you think Gone was cruel, wait until you see what happens there. Until next time.